Joining me this week on the Art of Feeling Better podcast is my good friend Chris Maddox from Attentive, the sensory-friendly clothing brand specially designed for people with autism, ADHD, SPD. It is just incredible, and he's done such brilliant things over the last couple of years. And we're getting real this week. We're going to have a really good chat about all things shadow work. We're going to be talking about things like addiction. We're going to talk about mental health, particularly men's mental health. We're going to talk about ADHD and school and how Chris has managed to overcome some of the stuff he's been through and is now working really hard to help others. So have a little sneaky preview of what's to come on Thursday, and make sure you tune in.
And I'm not going to do a big, massive intro because I want you to do the intro when I start asking you the questions about who you are and your story and why we're chatting today. But we've had a couple of really good conversations since we met, haven't we? Yeah. So we're going to talk about all the tough bits that people tend to not talk about, because that's kind of how I roll. We're on the same path, aren't we, of trying to break down some boundaries and trying to raise awareness and just get people thinking and talking and feeling about the stuff that they would normally run away from or keep repressed. So we're going to talk about things like ADHD, school, that fun and games around the education system. We're going to talk about meds, addiction, mental health, all that kind of stuff that people don't talk about. So yeah, we're in for a fun ride today.
I had what I thought was quite a normal childhood, like very supportive parents, stuff like that. But I always felt like different. Like I didn't fit in normal society. Fast forward a fair few years. At 29, I actually looked at getting an ADHD diagnosis because my ex at the time was like, have you ever looked into ADHD? I hadn't. I'd already looked at like anxiety, depression, BPD, bipolar, stuff like that. Like I'm quite clued up on everything because I've done all my research. And yeah, it just sort of went from there then. Then a year after, I got a borderline personality disorder diagnosis, which I now know came from not having my emotional needs met.
And there's so much ignorance around it, and there's so much misunderstanding. Just what's your experience? Because obviously you're quite open about your experiences with drugs and how did it first start? Was it purely was it recreational, or were you just like, I need some mask and this is good?
No, it was purely recreational to start with, and it wasn't cocaine, it was MCAT. That's what I started with.
Right.
It gave you the best feeling in the world. Yeah.
Euphoria.
Yeah, it was euphoria.
That's seductive. That's hard to get away 100%. From. Once you've experienced that,
it's a massive dopamine hit.
How do you go back to?
And I've got ADHD, so my body doesn't create dopamine. I need it. It's like shit. There you go. This is like dopamine in a lime.
That's so hard to get out. But you know now that you can get dopamine. You have so many ways you can get dopamine in your life. But
it was a quick fix.
It is a quick fix.
And it still is a quick fix.
Of course it is. It's the easiest way, but it's, as you know, so damaging. It's not a permanent fix.
Not just mentally either, like physically. Like my nose is gone. And I don't even recognise the person I was now. I look back and I cringe hard. Yeah.
Here's a good question. Here's some real deep shadow work. Have you got any gratitude for that person?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Because the learning.
If I hadn't been that person, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah.
But that's another thing people need to learn as well. Like, you can let go of your friends, you can let go of your family, you can let go of all these toxic entities. The biggest toxic entity to you that you need to let go of is your old self. That isn't an easy cycle to break either.
It's so hard. It takes such courage, doesn't it?
Because it's not just you. It's like the people you're friends with are like, oh, come on, remember how fun you used to be, or remember this, remember that. And I'm like,
how do you
but do you remember how bad my head used to be?
Do they remember that though, or do they just remember the fun bits?
They just remember that wasn't fun.
No,
100%. But it's feeling safe to be vulnerable.
And that's hard.
A lot of men don't have that safe because there's not everybody. Like there's a lot of very, very nice women out there, but a lot of women want this manly man.
Yeah,
and they don't know. And then as soon as you show a little bit of vulnerability, if you're too nice, you're too kind, or it's like
good point.
Like you do you.
Yeah.
If people gravitate, as long as you're not being a knobhead.
Yeah, just be a good person.
Just be you. Be a good person. Like it doesn't have your manners. Do all this good stuff.
Yeah.
But make sure you're happy and make sure your body isn't in fight or flight mode 24/7.
Yeah.
Because regardless of who you're going to piss off, as long as you're being a good person, who gives a shit? It's okay that you're feeling like this. reacting in this way isn't okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
What you're feeling is valid.
Yeah, it's all right. You feel like that. What do you need right now to make you feel better?
It's hard. It's so difficult. And I'm like, I wish I had someone like you.
I know. Well, that's exactly why we're here, isn't it?